Hello again, and welcome back to the Z Monster channel, which encompasses, of course, our garden series, our South Carolina living, and of course home projects. And we are on another home project video that we're starting today. And it was going to be a simple project, but as I'm going to show you in this video, it's turned into be a little bit more than that. The original plan was we were going to refinish the bottom deck boards on our deck and actually put a railing system around it, and then move the steps to the center of the deck. And the reason being is it has never had a rail on it. It was actually meant to be an enclosed kind of a greenhouse area off the outside of the house, from what I was told. But it's also starting to get holes through. Yeah, I fell through this one. Then it's got some cracked boards here, So we were just gonna, like I said, we were just gonna replace all the deck boards and put a railing up. And I thought, okay, well that's an easy project, you know. A couple $100 for the boards, some 4x4s, brace them in the corners, we're good to go. And you know, that would have been fine. And with any project, you guys need to start off with a plan. Draw your plans out before you go shopping, before you start buying boards and everything else, and seeing what it actually is that you're doing, what you need. Watch some YouTube videos, all of that good stuff, because those are all important. This is what I have as far as, I was writing down, drawing out some quick dimensions on what I currently have, and then I was drawing out what I want the deck to look like, and that's where our problems begin. As many of you guys know, when you're building or framing something in, you're going to have truss boards underneath. The truss boards are the ones that are going to run lengthwise from the outer wall to the outer plate, and then your deck boards sit across those. So the typical distance in between a joist and a joist should be anywhere. I like 16 on center. Some people say for a deck you can go 18, and you know, some people even say you can go a little bit longer. You know, 20, 24 even at the most. But I don't feel that that's, you know, good, because of the flexation that you're going to have in between the two joists on the boards is going to cause them to do that and crack. And that's what we have happening here. Now, of course, this is the main walkway right now, is this stair, the original stairs coming up, go in and you walk straight through and you get to the door. Well, we had to put stuff here so that we constantly are walking around it now, because of the holes that have developed in this particular area. The boards were never sealed in or painted, stained, anything, so they're just going to dry rot out and start to crack anyway. But because of the joists in these areas here are not properly spaced, that causes extra flex, because it's too wide of a span. And especially in the high traffic area right here that's going here straight to the door, these first two sections, you would think, okay, that would even be, you'd even want those stronger, and maybe actually have those at 16 on center instead of like 24 or something. But I'm going to show you what I actually have as measurements going out. And you can see here in between these boards here, I've got a span between this outer board to the next one here is 36.5 inches between, on center between those. I've got 28, I've got a 27, I've got a 25, I've got a 23, a 21, and a 25 in between all of the trusses that we have right now. And that is why we're having a problem. There's only 2 of these that are even close, around 24, that I would say would be acceptable to not have the flexation and allowing it to bow. as much. But right in the high traffic area is the largest spans that we have, 36.5 inches. I mean, you can see that's from here all the way to that outer edge. There's no other board in between here, and that's why we lost it here, we lost it there. Then the next section over is 28 inches between this board here and the next board over. It's just too large of a span to hold the weight that in the high traffic that we're having. The new plan was to, or the new plan after I thought about just taking off the top, putting a new top, and then adding the rails, now has come to re-engineering the deck because of where the joists are at. So I thought, okay, well, I could rip the tops off and add a couple of joist boards in between where I think it's weaker, so that it'll be stronger in those spots. But then some of the these end plates here were just like, they're screwed in, and then they're I want to say carriage bolts, but it's not right. It lag bolted in, sorry. They got lag bolts going in on the posts on the sides, so these are actually holding on by these bolts going into the 4x4s, and everything is screwed together. So for all intents and purposes, strength wise, it should be able to support it. Now if it was just the screws going on and this was on here, the shear strength, but there's no real weight hitting on this edge board, but the shear strength could shear off just a regular screw and stuff like that. Now with the lag screws here, lag bolts, those are going to be stronger, and some of them do have, you know, weight allowances to where it should be strong enough. Me personally, I don't agree with how this particular one was built, and I'm going to fix that when I replace this. So my next plan was, how am I going to structurally fix this? Well, I want to build up underneath here. You can see, hopefully you can see, there are 4x4s cemented into the ground all throughout underneath here. Now my plan was I was going to come off from the bottom of the skirting of the mobile home here out about 2 feet and put a main beam. I was actually going to put like two 2x8s together, screw them together, and then sit them on top of 4x4 posts going across, and then building a 2x6 or 2x8 frame of I guess a truss frame on top, that's box that's going to sit on top of that. So what I need is I will need 4x4s that are actually in a row, and as you can see, these are not in a row underneath here, anything straight, which is going to cause a problem, I'm sure. So I'm going to have to try and get a couple of the first row here. I think I might be able to work something out to where I can sit it on a couple of them and it's fairly straight, to getting it 2 feet off the house, and to build a platform in which to sit the new deck frame on. But then if I do one there, then I wanted to do at least 2 more, so I'll need one in the middle and then one about 1 foot to 2 feet from the outer edge. And like I said, that's going to be hard to find a couple that are in the spaces for the span that I need. And to be able to clarify that more and to see it visually, I have to take this one completely apart down to the 4x4 studs coming up, and then I'll know, you know, then I'll be able to take some actual measurements, and I'll probably have to cut off a bunch of the 4x4s down to get to what I need to rebuild the deck. Now this deck is roughly it's 16 feet from those double doors out to this edge, so it's a solid run of of the deck boards, so we didn't have to cut any boards to get it out to here. They were just, you know, one solid run, which is good, so there's no seams to have to worry about. But then, like I said, over time it does tear it up. Now coming out from this wall out to here, it's about 17 and a half feet. So that distance I may or may not change depending on what it looks like when I get it all torn apart, and you know, how much material is going to be used to get it to the same distance. I mean, for me, I'd like to go just 16 by 16, which would take it roughly just a foot and a half or so past the edge of the house there, which would be fine for me. And the original plan was I was going to come off with the deck, have the stairs in the center here to come down to a lower platform of a deck down here, which would be good for maybe a barbecue or something like that. That way I wouldn't have to get the barbecue all the way up there, and I could have a platform down here that, being that it's lower to the ground, I could support it you know, a lot stronger, and it would be away from those areas. But then I have out in the middle of the yard this fire pit that I can actually cook on and stuff, so I don't really need to have a lower platform except for aesthetics. I thought it would look kind of cool and it'd be a neater project. That I could always add later, but I am going to have the steps coming off the center section instead of off the end for the next time. So that way I'm going to have railing coming down and around, and then down from the house, down the corner and around, with nice steps coming off that are similar to the ones we have on the front. They actually come, instead of coming straight down, it's going to start off at approximately 3 feet to 4 feet wide at the top, and then when it gets down to the bottom, it's going to kind of widen out to, you know, anywhere from 7 to 8 feet when it gets to the bottom part. And that's why I was looking to get the platform, which would eliminate some of that, you know, widening that far out. But we'll see. Like I said, lots of plans. But that's where we're at today with video 1, is the planning and the cleaning off of everything that's on the deck, and then we're actually going to start demo. And so I've got to do the project as quickly as possible, because through the double doors, this is one of our storage rooms that we have, and we have some larger items that we are selling on Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that. So the double doors make it so much easier to get the larger furniture pieces out and get them loaded onto a vehicle to deliver them, or if people come to buy them, to get them out for displaying. But once I tear this thing down, it's going to be down for at least a week and a half, and that's at the least, depending on how fast I can, you know, get the materials and stuff that I need for it to rebuild it. So that's why I want to try and get the plan down and get some material items figured out on what I'm going to possibly need, so I can get building on it once I get it torn down. But that's where we're at with for video 1. You can see what it looks like now, and the next video will show you either partial tear down or all the way torn down to just the 4x4 posts. We'll see if I remember the video. So as always, we'll talk to you later.